Hello and welcome to another episode of the Total Connector. Keyvan Davani is my name. Total Bitcoin, total crypto, total blockchain, total freedom. And there we go right to the topic of today. The headline of today is all over the mainstream news actually. Let me see where we are. There we go. Here you go. Okay, there you got it. Officially. It's all official now. I mean, seriously, I mean, there used to be a time when you specifically talked about any kind of topics, whether you talked about, the big editors, owners of newspapers going to the Bilderberg meetings until, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, it was still you were just, stigmatized as a conspiracy theorist. But there you go. Former JPMorgan trader admitted to manipulating precious metals, meaning gold, silver, and other precious metals such as palladium, etc., for years. Okay, let's go dive into it. You can, it's on Zero Hedge today's zerohedge.com. The article, it's all over the internet. And today is November 7, 2018. And you can also, read it on other news sources. All right. But still, I want to comment it in between and just go through quickly as possible. So it says, there was a time where the merest mention of gold manipulation in reputable media was enough to have one branded a perpetual conspiracy theorist with a tinfoil farm outback. That was roughly coincident with the time when LIBOR, remember, LIBOR, FX, mortgage, and bond market manipulation was also considered unthinkable, when high-frequency traders were believed to provide liquidity, or when the stock market was said to not be manipulated by the Fed. Remember the Fed, the Federal Reserve, owned by, privately. Federal Reserve is a private entity, private organization, and which prints money out of thin air, literally. By stealing your wealth, stealing your money, stealing your value, by inflating the money, by devaluing, debasing the money. Anyway, and when the ever-confused media, always eager to take complicated financial concepts at the face value set by self-serving establishment, never dared to question anything. We never learned to question anything, right, from childhood on. But anyway, this is what we've got to learn now. Now, that has now changed, it says. In what may be the first major bullion bank trader coming clean, a former JP Morgan precious metals trader admitted he engaged in a 6-year spoofing scheme, we'll come right to that explanation, that defrauded investors in gold, silver, platinum, and palladium futures contracts. Now, John Edmonds, 36, of Brooklyn, New York, pleaded guilty under seal on October 9th in the District of Connecticut to commodities fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, commodities price manipulation, and spoofing. Justice notes in a statement, I quote, from approximately 2009 to 2015, John Edmonds engaged in a sophisticated scheme to manipulate the market for precious metals futures contracts for his own gain by placing orders that were never intended to be executed, unquote, said Assistant Attorney General Benskovsky. It goes on to quote, the criminal division is committed to prosecuting those who undermine the investing public's trust in the integrity of our commodities markets through spoofing or any other illegal conduct. The article goes on, as we noted previously, inquiring minds are not only asking how is the gold market being manipulated, but are actually providing answers, meaning evidence, proof. Now, it says further on, FBI Assistant Director in charge Sweeney explained that with his guilty plea, Edmonds admitted he intended to introduce materially false and misleading information into the commodities markets, unquote. The quote goes on, by conspiring with its trading partners to place spoof orders, he blatantly attempted to profit off an unfair market that he helped create. The FBI will continue to work with our partners to ensure financial markets remain a level playing field for all investors. Now, the article goes on, Edmonds and his fellow precious metals traders at the bank routinely place orders for precious metals futures contracts with the intent to cancel those orders before execution. They're spoof orders, he admitted. Now, we can call those spoof orders actually also ghost orders because you're pretending to go through fully a deal, an executable trade, but you do not execute them. Right before they're supposed to be executed, you pull them off, you cancel them, and it, of course, sends all kinds of distorted, misleading, erroneous data, information, numbers, whatever, information through all the market participants, the whole market, everywhere. And there you go. This is how you can, then buy off probably all these kinds of metals at really, really cheap prices. Anyway, well, in any direction you want to go, So this trading strategy was admittedly intended to inject materially false and misleading liquidity and price information into the precious metals futures contracts markets by placing the spoof orders in order to deceive other market participants about the existence of supply and demand. The spoof orders were designed to artificially move the price of precious metals futures contracts in a direction that was favorable to Edmonds and his co-conspirators at the bank to the detriment of other market participants. In pleading guilty, Edmonds admitted he learned this deceptive trading strategy from more senior traders at the bank, and he personally deployed this strategy hundreds of times with the knowledge and consent of his immediate supervisors. Now, we can argue right now. I don't have the really detailed stuff like who are his immediate supervisors. I cannot imagine that Mr. Jamie Demon or Diamond is, because usually this is how it works. I mean, I researched the once internal documents of the tobacco corporations, or cigarette corporations to be more precise, the multinational cigarette corporations for 15, 16 years, and wrote a lot of books and my Ph.D. and loved it, talked about a lot of, insiders, whistleblowers. So the way it works is that, of course, when you sit at the top at the, CEO, the real controllers up there, you delegate. It's like in any other criminal, whatever, or in history, or right now in the last decades or years, it's always the same game. So you let the others, you delegate that to the sub-level management, so that in case everything comes onto the surface and gets disclosed, or whatever, prosecutor, whatever, then you got somebody, being the being sort of the bad sheep and guilty, and so you got someone you can blame effectively. So I don't know, about the details, but it says here, and with the knowledge and consent of his immediate supervisors. This is what it says. Now, Justice describes one such spoof that occurred on October 12, 2012. The Edmonds knowingly executed the scheme or artifice by causing to be transmitted to a CME group server and offered to sell approximately 402 silver futures contracts, called spoof order, with the intent at the time the offer was entered to cancel the offer before it could be executed, which fraudulently represented the state of the market so that Edmonds could purchase approximately 6 silver futures contracts at a below market price. Now, Edmonds' spoof order caused other market participants to react and trade at prices, quantities, and times at which they otherwise would not have traded but for Edmonds' spoof order. It goes on, as you can see here. There you go. See, there you go. This is how it works. See, every time it goes up, and then right before it was supposed to execute, they pull it off. Okay, they put it off, they cancel it, and it sends all kind of distorted messages, info, and data through the market participants to the market. Okay, and this is a second graph. Now it says here, it's not like manipulation ever stopped. However, one glance at the odd price action almost every day around the time of a London fix makes it clear it is anything but a normal market. See, this is a pattern, a very, very systematic pattern. So every time it goes up, okay, see, this is the London fix spot gold. Every time, they cancel it, pull it off, the price drops, of course. Okay, so this is how you manipulate the market. We'll give U.S. Attorney Durham the last words, bearing the chart above in mind. He says, I quote, "The investigation of deceptive trading practices by others involved in this scheme is ongoing." Meaning, to me, in my understanding, it's just the tip of the iceberg. And it's it's all about evidence, proof, and it's about insiders, whistleblowers, and what you can, and how far the prosecutors can go. How far is the power structure really clean and ethical and really independent and free in the workings? But I'm just saying it. It always depends what kind of. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? Now, the Department of Justice ends its statement with the following: individuals who believe that they may be a victim in these cases should visit the fraud section of Victims Witness website for more information. No, I'm just hoping and wishing for all the victims, for all the damage, people who have been damaged in this market, that they get some kind of they get the real, the real deal of compensation, real punitive damages. Because when we talk about JP Morgan and whatever other institutions, I don't know, I don't want to name anybody else, okay, but this is just we're just talking about the last 6 years. I'm implying, hey, let's just look into the last half a century, the last decades, okay, into any kind. This is what I'm saying, it's time for Bitcoin, man. It's time for Bitcoin. It's time for a super soundest, hardest money store of value. Don't look Bitcoin again. Don't look at it as a transactional, microtransaction system. It's gonna come. All this gonna come by, in a chain reaction really fast in the next few years. But look at it as the soundest, hardest money store of value, as a fundamental principle, healthy, balanced economical structure. You should know, our financial monetary system is built, the economical system is built on Keynesianism from Keynes. And you should know, that's why I said, read the book of Safed Namus, the Bitcoin Standard. I wish he would, reply to me, because I would love to have an interview, because I really, from legal perspective also, I want to work with him on an economical, legal perspective, but he hasn't responded back to me. And Andreas Antonopoulos, Mastering Bitcoin, and other books of him, Internet of Money, Part 1, Volume 1 and 2, and this one. So anyway, read it, please. Educate yourself, educate others. And I just want to tell you, Keynes, it came out through the correspondence letters that were disclosed in Cambridge. Mr. Keynes was a pedophile. Yeah, he was a pedophile. So our system is based on a pedophile. And by the way, Keynes was not an economic. He was not an economics. Okay, he was not an economist. He was, what do you call it? He came from one of the, very rich, wealthy families. I believe from United Kingdom something, and he was a statistician and an investor. And he was sort of a, not only pedophile, but he made really autistic protocol with how many children he actually abused, and exploited. So this is sad. It's really sad, that our system is that humanity is not waking up to the fact that we have a totally rotten, sick, and exploitative and enslaving monetary, financial, economical system. And we got to say goodbye. It's just going to make itself obsolete once Bitcoin goes into mass adoption. We just came from the innovation phase. Now we are right, maybe somewhere between innovation phase, adoption phase, and then hopefully by order of magnitude, exponentially faster, we're going into the mass adoption. But it needs education. This is all our collective, especially crypto community, Bitcoin community, the 5% who really understand, who hold, who are educated, who understand, comprehend. This is our ethical mission, duty, and responsibility to educate the masses of humanity, the 7.5 billion or 8 billion people that we are on this planet. Because if each and every human being just held a fraction, even if it's just thousands of millions of satoshis, as you know, one Bitcoin is 100 million satoshis divisible, okay? Remember that. One Bitcoin is 100 million satoshis. So soon we're not only going to talk about Bitcoin, but we're going to talk about how many satoshis do you have. Now, can you imagine what one Bitcoin could be once all the equity, just talking about the monetary, the equity, the money flow, the M1, M2, M3, whatever it's called, goes into and gets absorbed into the Bitcoin, and once you understand that principle, the essence of Bitcoin is that it is absolutely and totally limited. It's totally and absolutely scarce. Scarcer than anything you can ever imagine in human history. Harder than gold. And the secret sauce of Bitcoin is difficulty adjustment. It becomes ever, because of different parameters, factors, and halving of Bitcoin every 4 years, and only one block every 10 minutes. The algorithm, whatever, the hashing and the mining of each Bitcoin, becomes more and more and more difficult with each Bitcoin. So we are right now at approximately 17 to 80 million Bitcoins mined until right now. So the next 1 million, so until 19 or let's say approximately 19 20 million, they're all in total 21 million Bitcoins. Okay, so the next 1 million Bitcoin is going to be mined until approximately 2025, and then it becomes exponential by order of magnitude, much slower and more difficult. The resistance becomes harder and harder and harder to mine the next Bitcoin. So the last Bitcoin, you can calculate it already by now, is going to be mined in the year 2140. That's about it. My rant is over. And if you wanna, ethically, sustainably, long-term invest self-responsibly, empowered, educated, comprehended, into not only Bitcoin but the crypto, ethical, sustainable, substantial, and really delivering projects. I'm not talking about the scammy, fraudulent ICO projects, but real projects that deliver numbers, data, return on investment, dividends, rewards, or what have you, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. You have no excuse whatsoever. Contact me. Keyvan Davani .youcanbookme.me www.Keyvan-Davani, it's right below, .youcanbookme.me. Make an appointment with me, and we'll make a short, smooth, compact, very easy cheesy workshop with you. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, instruct you what you need to do to generate, to accumulate, store of value, harness money, and return of investment and passive income for the new future to come, for yourself, your beloved ones, your family, and whoever you love. All right, that's about it for your future. For now, here and now, there's no time for revolution. It is time for evolution. I'm signing out. My name is Keyvan Davani. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And don't do it, for me. Do it. You're doing it for yourself. Remember that, okay? That you're doing this for your freedom, for your independence, for your future, for your well-being, for your health, for your joy and pleasure. All right? Wealth. I'm serving you wealth and freedom. My name is Keyvan Davani. I'm the total connector, total Bitcoin, total blockchain, total crypto, total freedom. Bye-bye.